if any chance I get to talk about any, if it's like, oh, hey, which movie deserves a bit more of the spotlight, it's Leigh Whannell's Upgrade. Leigh Whannell, one of the dudes that, brought you the original Saw alongside James Wan. You'll know him more recently for Invisible Man. But if you want to just have your mind blown apart and restructured again in the best way possible, it's Upgrade. This movie that is this really brilliant dissection of our sort of general relationship to technology, how much we rely on it, how much we can kind of give ourselves over to machine learning and machine thinking, and how ultimately machines aren't going to factor in the emotion that you need to adequately explore a situation, let's say, to keep things pretty vague. And that movie is just about this guy getting some surgery, and I kind of just want people to go watch it, because the first time in that movie where you realize the power of the machine that's actually controlling the guy, and what it's like I said, giving yourself over to this machine learning, this machine sensibility way of thinking, the way that the movie shows that off, the completely visceral, out of nowhere, oh my god, what's happening nature of that scene is horrifying, but he also walks a line where he's able to pull off various really cool badass things, fight choreography, moments that are genuinely enjoyable in a more action sensibility. But I think Upgrade works as it can be classified as a horror overall. I'm going to go with that because I just think that it's worth watching and taking in the thematics, the messaging, the amount of different points that he's trying to make. Again, I'm trying to keep it vague because I want more people to see this movie, hence the category of mentioning something that's completely overlooked. It's only like me, Ash, and like Josh or whatever who's actually seen Upgrade out of the people in the office, and it's just a phenomenal film. So just if you wanna just dive into something, I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix, at least it is in the UK, give Upgrade a shot. It's brilliant.
So an unknown horror film that I think doesn't get enough praise has to be Grave Encounters. It's something that I've spoken about a couple of times on pods before, but I really want to get it out there and have people watch this film, because if, like me, you are also a fan of Ghost Adventures, yes, I know, lame, but I love watching it. It's one of my guilty pleasures. I used to enjoy watching it when I was younger because I really believed what was happening. As I've got older, I've kind of got a bit more wise about what's happening is probably just, squeaky floors and stuff, but some things that they do capture is very creepy. But in the back of your mind, you're just so wanting something to happen, something real, something like, to see a full-bodied apparition, or for them to get attacked by something properly, and obviously that never happens, but it's something you secretly want to. And in Grave Encounters, that's exactly what it is. It's basically Ghost Adventures, but when things actually go wrong, things all go right, shall I say, they actually do capture proof of paranormal, but unfortunately things don't go very well from them. And it's so brilliant because it's everything that you want from Ghost Adventures in a horror movie. And so you're watching it thinking like, oh, this is just a rip-off of Ghost Adventures, like this is a little bit of a, a piss take basically. But as things go on, they start to sort of pick up on things like, oh wait, this is actually happening, and seeing these characters go from being very like, well, we don't believe in this either, but it's a living, this is how we sort of make our money, to going to actually being terrified and truly like, wait, this stuff exists, and then being trapped in this sort of haunted abandoned hospital, I think it is. It's just brilliant, and all the things that you just so want to happen when you're watching these sort of documentary horror sort of channel things actually happens, and it's brilliant. It's so brilliant. The second one is also really, really good, so watch the second one as well. But yeah, if you enjoy Ghost Adventures, if you're lame like me and you enjoy Ghost Adventures and all those like paranormal witness things, definitely watch Grave Encounters. It is so good, and yeah, it's just a really cheesy, great time.
Right, so before anything else here, I have to mention two movies with this kind of title, and that is Lake Mungo and Absentia, which are both incredible films. They are lesser known films that are, well received, well praised, but not nearly enough for the caliber of film that they offer. Lake Mungo is the best mockumentary film you will ever see. That's just the way it is. I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do about it. You watch Lake Mungo, that's the peak. That you're done. You're done with mockumentaries after Lake Mungo. It is so good. It's this Australian movie that follows a family that lose a daughter, a sister, a member of their family, very tragically, and think that there is a ghost in their house. They think they're dealing with something supernatural afterwards, but it's not. It is not me recommending you some paranormal activity level stuff. This is not the film you expect it to be. It's so good and has so many twists and turns. You don't really know where you're going to end up by the end of it. And where you end up is somewhere spectacularly weird and terrifying, and it will stick with you for so long after watching. Lake Mungo is a gift to this world. Please watch it. And Absentia, the other one I mentioned, is Mike Flanagan's, one of his earliest films that is just, it has all the hallmarks of his incredible filmmaking style that tells the story of two sisters, and one of these sisters has her husband has disappeared, and she's going to mark him dead in absentia, hence the title. But spooky things start going on. Oh, I'm sorry, she's trying to come to terms with this loss. She's still trying to deal with him disappearing and living her own life. And, it's very difficult for her. And things become more difficult as the film goes on, but I won't spoil anything for you. It's really good. 2 films about loss and death and struggling for you. And now one more, because the bulk of this entry, I think, should be focused on Pyewacket, because that is far lesser known than the other two, I think, personally. I hear it spoken about a lot less than the other two, but it's still a really great atmospheric, spooky horror movie that follows a mother and daughter that have an incredibly strained relationship due to the death and passing of the father/husband of their family unit, and they move out to the remote woods. And the daughter is big. She is big on occult and black magic and kind of dark, spooky stuff. Now, you got a strained relationship. You got a daughter who's well into the spooky stuff. You end up combining these together with a daughter that conjures up a demon called Pyewacket to kill her own mother, which is an incredible overreaction and one she has to deal with the rest of the movie. So that's kind of the setup that I'm going to give you, and it's so good. It's really scary. It's really deep and tense. It's not one that kind of jumps out at you from everywhere, but it does have some very incredible visual moments that will scare you as well. It's another gift. It's another horrible death and disappearance gift that I've got to give you along with all of the other ones. It's not what you expect, and it's really mean-spirited as well, which is what you want in a horror movie. You want a nasty, horrible time, so Pyewacket for that. And just to leave you with one last one, because I'm going to say the Polish horror mermaid musical movie that is The Lure. And that's all I'm going to say about that one, because that's all you need to know. You're welcome. You're welcome.
So a really great horror film that doesn't get enough love, for me personally, I think would have to be The Void, because it's primarily, just this ridiculous exercise in escalation, in that it just seems to sort of jump up to higher and higher concepts in terms of genre and just get more and more ludicrous as it goes, in a way that just feels so kind of unexpected and entertaining. It begins with a cop barricading himself and a criminal inside a hospital, which is then besieged by cultists, and it's got this kind of Assault on Precinct 13 siege movie vibe with a bit of a supernatural element to it maybe. And then seemingly out of nowhere, one of the characters in this hospital explodes into a tentacle monster, and the film has turned into The Thing. And suddenly the violence just escalates and escalates and escalates, and it gets incredibly gory, and they're sort of going down into these creepy haunted basements of the hospital, and then there's more tentacle monsters, and then someone, peels all the skin off their face and murders someone, and then there's a room full of all these reanimated dead people, and eventually you're at this point where you've gone from Assault on Precinct 13 to The Thing to some kind of insane operatic extra-dimensional cosmic horror with this character who's looking to defy death and to to sort of transcend to godhood. And it's just impossible to understand how you got from where this film began to where it ends. And it's just absolutely mad. There's just tentacles everywhere throughout the whole thing, and it's crazy. And it's a real kind of 1980s throwback as well, because it's got this real gory, nasty, really nasty video nasty feel to it. And the visual effects are done almost entirely practically rather than using CGI, so it's got this very real, gritty, just disgusting, unpleasant look to it. And if you just want a film that just will keep you kind of unable to predict what's going to happen next, and will leave you at the end feeling totally baffled but really thoroughly entertained, then it's The Void. It's just loads of tentacles and gore and godhood, and it's just class.